Hi everyone, Jamie Madison here. Welcome back to my channel. So today's cards are going to be featuring the Jessica Lynn original. This stamp set is the Pit Bull Lovers. And this stamp set is kind of close to me because I personally have two pit bulls and I also have an American Bulldog as well that we rescued back in September. So I thought this stamp set would be a lot of fun to play around with. So to get started, I'm going to be using my GINA K amalgam ink, and I'm going to be stamping down two of these little pit bull images on some Bristol smooth paper. I need to start using my watercolor paper when I know I'm going to be using some watercolor medium, but I decided to use my Artezas after all with this card. So Artezas are going to be great for Bristol smooth paper because it gives you some time to work on the paper before they dry. So if you have Artezas or zigs and you're having difficulty blending on your paper, I would definitely encourage you trying some Bristol Smooth. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and put all my Arteza Real Brush markers up at the left-hand corner so you see what colors I'm using. Some of them aren't labeled in the older sets, but you get the gist of it. It's more of yellow, orange, pink, purple, green, and blue. So we're doing a rainbow. To me, pit bulls have such a fun personality. They are some of the sweetest dogs I've ever met and owned. And I wanted to kind of portray that in these cards to show that they have this adorable, sweet, kind side to them that people should really get to know. It's not what the breed is, it's who has the breed. So I'm a very big advocate for it's not the dog, it's who owned the dog. And even then, we have Maxwell, who we rescued back in September, who came from a horrible, horrible situation, was very mistreated, and he has just the most sweetest, loving life you could ever see in a dog. You would never known he came from a really bad time. So to do this blending, I'm just doing some rainbow orders here, just yellow with the orange and the orange fading into the pink. I'm just taking my time with this. I don't want this to get muddy, so I'm really trying to make sure that these colors blend very well into each other. So don't put your orange next to your green or your purple next to your yellow, because then you're not going to get such beautiful transition of colors. For my brush, I'm using the Zen Royal and Land Nickel. This is the number 4, the Z83R. I will list my paintbrushes down below. These are my new favorite brushes. They work so well with any kind of watercolor medium. So with your Arteza zigs or even with your watercolor palettes. I bought these specifically for my watercolor palettes, but they work perfect as well with my Artezas. So moving on with this, I'm going to be very careful with this green. This green is what I was afraid of in the very beginning before I even started. I was afraid of where I was going to put this color because I knew he was going to have to blend with either the pink or the purple, and green goes muddy very, very quickly. Blue is so much easier to blend, but the green, not so much. So I was trying to not put so much green on the image because I knew that if I went too overboard that it would end up a muddy mess down there by his paws. So I'm just going to finish blending this in, and then I'm going to fussy cut this little puppy out. Now moving on to the background, I had a piece of pattern paper that would have worked perfectly for the background, but I know not everybody has the same pattern paper that I have to recreate these kind of kits, so I thought I would try something, one with a pattern paper and one making our own background. So I'm using the exact same colors that we used for the dog, and I'm using some Canson XL watercolor paper, and I'm just scribbling it on a piece of laminated paper. This is what I use as my palette whenever I'm using my Arteza markers. I just kind of scribble on and I pick it up from there. That is a very easy way of transferring the color into your image. It gives you a little bit more time to blend with it. Whenever you add the marker straight to the page, it's going to absorb it a little bit quicker and you don't have as much time to play around with it. So I went ahead and just added all my colors. Like I said, that green has always kind of haunted me. It just always wants to go muddy on me for some reason, no matter how careful I am. So I kind of put the green way down low this time. And then I just kind of put my yellow as a transition between the blue and the green. I figured that shouldn't go too muddy. Sprayed my page, sprayed a little bit on the papers, flattened it out, took my chamois. I just ran that around to pick up that excess water, and I'm just going to dry it with my heat tool. After I'm done drying it, I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to an A2 size card. So now that I have my A2 size card background, I'm going to adhere this with a whole bunch of double-sided tape from all the watercolor that we just did. I don't want this to be any bowing in my card. I want this to be nice and flat, so lots of adhesive is needed for this. And I just ran out of adhesive too, so I had to refill that. So I went ahead and adhered that on a pre-scored A2 size card. Looking back, I wish I would have gave it a little bit more of a border and not so close to the edges. You guys know I love my borders, but I guess it worked pretty well. So here is the pattern paper that I picked up. This pattern paper is so adorable. It has all kinds of cats and dogs in it, so it's for both four-legged friends. This is by Authentique, and it is called the Companions. So it does have dogs on one side, cats on the other. They're pretty much identical the way that the pattern paper is. So you're going to get one of each for the dogs and one of each for the cats. You're not going to have to choose one or the other. So I really appreciate that in a pattern paper pack, because I don't want to be like, oh my goodness, I really like that pattern and I only have one of them. So this one you're going to get doubles. So I really like that. So I went ahead and picked out 2 of my pattern papers from that pack, and I used My Favorite Things wonky stitched rectangle dies. So I cut one bigger. This one has little dog collars on it, and then the smaller one is like a little newspaper clippings. I mean, they're just adorable. I just love this pattern paper. So I went ahead and took my little pitty and I took some foam tape, and I'm just going to pop him up with some foam tape. The only thing I can say about the stamp set was I wish there was more sentiments with this stamp set. So for this card, I chose Save a Life and Adopt, and I just popped that up at the top with some foam tape. I also heat embossed that sentiment in black. After that, I went ahead and got my sequins. These sequins are from Studio Katia, and they are clear confetti, I believe is what they're called. I will list them down below. But I'm pretty sure they are clear confetti, because these are some of my absolute favorite sequins that I have. They are like little mirrors on your card. So if you haven't got these, I highly recommend them. They're gorgeous. So with that, this finishes up this card. So I have 2 cards that I made with this stamp set. One says Save a Life and Adopt with watercolor background. The other one says I Love My Pit Bull with pattern paper background. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy both of these cards. And thank you for all the love, likes, and subscribes. It means the world to me. I will see you next week with another card. Bye!